This is a video explaining how to do your first AutoCAD drawing using in auxiliary views. And if you have the technical drawing 13th edition text, this is problem 7.6-1 on page 246. Just a couple of items I want to go over here with you. First of all, ignore the directions that are in the book under exercise 7.6. On these exercises, since I'm doing them with you, I want you to go ahead and draw an auxiliary view of the entire object. Actually, it tells you here to only do an incomplete auxiliary view, which I'm assuming only means to do the auxiliary face. So I want to do the whole object. Okay. Also, with this video and all the others, I want you to number yours exactly like I number mine. The reason being is that I'm going to ask you questions that relate to the numbering method. Okay, and if you don't number yours like mine, you're going to get a different answer. Okay, just simply because you didn't number like I did. Also, if you're drawing yours, if you're starting off and you're trying to figure out how to do the numbering, if you'll use dtext, okay, the command dtext in AutoCAD, it'll say specify a start point of text. Just click anywhere on the screen. Specify a height. I've used 3 for this because this particular drawing, because this is a metric drawing and it just seemed to work well, but you might have to experiment with the height. But after you get the height that you want, press enter. Rotation angle 0, okay, and then you can just do like 1 enter, 2 enter, 3 enter, so on and so forth. Okay, and then each number is its own individual entity, and you can move it around, copy it, paste it, what have you. Okay, so that will apply to all the lessons that we do in AutoCAD. Okay, you need to use the numbering method, and sometimes you can actually copy the numbers from one drawing into another just by using Control C. Okay, so that you can actually copy it from one drawing to another instead of just copying in the drawing itself. Also, you'll notice that the book gives you the very first drawing on the row is the front view. Okay, and I'll refer to that in the questions. Okay, depending on which number we choose, the 6 drawings to the right of that are the right side views. Okay, so each front view, or if one of the front views could have one of 6 possible right side views depending on what number we are working. Okay, you'll also notice that we don't have a top view. Okay, so for example, if since I don't have a top view here, you really don't know what this is shaped like on top. This surface is shaped like on top. But since I'm doing the numbering method, and if you haven't reviewed the numbering video, okay, you are to assume that, for example, point 1 lies directly behind point 2, okay, and point 10 lies directly behind point 6. But if you haven't watched the numbering video, you're going to have trouble understanding what I'm talking about, so make sure you watch that. So in other words, if that's the case, and then you look over at the front view, point 10 lies directly behind point 1, point 6 lies directly behind point 2. If you'll think about it a minute, that means we have a rectangle. Okay, so we're not really making an assumption there. They're not showing the top view, but the numbering method is calling the way the top view looks out for us. Okay, and also couple of things when you are doing answering your questions. I'll ask you to, say what is the length of the line between point 2 and 3. Okay, and if you type in the command DI and then enter, pick it on an endpoint, on another endpoint, okay, and then if you look down in the command line window here, it'll tell you how long that line is. Which brings me to another point also, that just because I'm working problems like the ones in the book does not mean that I've used the same dimensions. Okay, I want you to figure out these dimensions on your own. So pay attention to my technique, because that's exactly the way I want you to do it, but do not pay attention to my dimensions that I'm getting, or or that you see on the screen. Okay, so that's how you measure distance. And if you measure area, you can just type in the area command, and let's say I want to measure the area of the box, or the plane bounded by points 2, 3, 6, and 7. Okay, I've typed in area. Now it asks me to select the object. Well, it's not an object, but I can pick on the corner points. Okay, and I can select here, 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 and here. Okay, and once I pick my last point, don't hit enter, hit T for total. Okay, and then down at the bottom you can see where AutoCAD gives me the area and the perimeter. Okay, so those are all things that you need to keep in mind for the entire object, or I'm sorry, for all of the exercises that we do, especially off of this first page. Okay, until I tell you different. Alright, so like I said, here you have a front side view and a right side view. Okay, and now we need to do our development of the entire object. And the way I want to jump into this is, first off, I want to you should be using a template, okay, that I've provided to you, and I want to change my layer to construction. Okay, now if there's not a construction layer in your template, or you didn't use the template I provided, please create a construction layer. Alright, and the way you do that is you can just simply go to layer properties, and oftentimes you'll use more than one. Okay, you can actually use you can say construction 2, and you can change colors. Okay, we won't go over why you might need 2 construction layers yet, but it is possible. Okay, so let me go to construction, and I will make sure that layer is turned on. Okay, and we'll get started. Now the first thing I want to do is to draw a line. Okay, and I want to type in PER, and that's perpendicular snap. Okay, and I just want to snap it perpendicular anywhere on this line. Okay, you may notice from the reading that in order to get the true size and shape of an object, you have to view it perpendicularly. Okay, so that's what we're doing now. So I'm just gonna and the reason that line is not showing up, I accidentally turned that construction layer off. Okay, so I'll do it again, L and then PER for my snap. Okay, and here's my construction line. Now what I want to do is I want to highlight it and move it to one of the 5 points showing here. Okay, and make sure you use your endpoint snap. Okay, I can't stress this enough. You have to be snapped to the correct points. Alright, and after you do that, select CP, or type in CP and then enter, and select the line that you want to copy around, and just grab it by the endpoint and copy it to all of your points of interest. Okay. Alright, now that I've done that, I will just draw a line out in space, and then I want to extend these lines to that line. Alright, now that I've done that, I want a line that is perpendicular to these lines. Alright, so I'll type L for line and then PER for perpendicular. Okay, and then I'll snap to the end with my nearest snap. Okay, since these lines are parallel, if I'm perpendicular to this line, it has to be perpendicular to that line. So I want to trim off the ends. Okay, and erase that line. Now what I'm doing, I'm forming a grid so I can do my offsets. Okay, now the next place I have to do a grid is on the right side view. Alright, this is very similar to what we did in the workbook, but we're not provided with a grid, so we have to make our own. Now I'm going to copy that line to my points of interest, and I can just do it by the end point. Okay, alright, now I can just come in here and I can draw a line, and since I have my polar snap on, I can just draw a line that's horizontal, and really that's all I have to do on this one. Okay, I've got it snapped to all my points of interest, and what I'm going to be using this for is taking measurements, so that's fine the way I have it drawn there. So now I want to type O for offset, and this is a really nifty trick. Actually, before I get started, this line is going